Thanks to Survey Junkie for sponsoring this video. The iPhone has gone through a bunch of changes in the last few years. We got widgets, we got smaller form factors, we got bigger form factors, and now we've kind of settled, or at least I have settled, into the middle. I tried the small, I tried the really big with the mini and the max, and now I'm down in the middle with the iPhone 13 Pro, and I've created a setup with this phone that I think works perfectly for me. There's really so many ways that you can set up your phone these days, but now that I've been using the 13 Pro for a few months now, I have really gotten a hang of it. And this setup, I think, is really good. So like I said, I'm using the iPhone 13 Pro. I went with space gray, 256 gigabytes this time around. And I think this is the perfect form factor for the most people, especially if you're looking for the Pro phone. But even if you're looking for the regular, this 6.1 inch screen, I think is the great middle ground between having a big screen, but also having a portable phone. And so far, it's only been a few months, but it is holding up extremely well. I'm very happy with it, as happy as I was when I first got it, especially when it comes to the camera. I've taken some excellent photos with this, and even the video, which is actually the thing I'm using the most, because a lot of the videos you've been watching on this channel have mainly been filmed on the iPhone, which is something I never really did all that much, except for some, intermediary footage here and there. But I've been using this camera so much. Now, before we talk about the actual software and the setup there, let's talk about some of the accessories I'm using. So really, there's two MagSafe options that I use all the time. The first is the MagSafe wallet. Back when I got the MagSafe wallet, there was all these questions about whether or not this would fall off your phone all the time, whether you'd lose it, and personally, that just hasn't been an issue. I've been using it since the iPhone 12, and I love this thing. It has really just become my wallet. I don't actually put it on the back of my phone all that often unless there's like a particular situation. This is just the wallet I use. I only need a few cards, and it's great. And then when I need to, I can just slap it on the back of the phone, so it's like I'm carrying one thing instead of multiple. I really like it. But the second MagSafe accessory I use is the battery pack. I don't use this all that often, and I don't take it with me every single time, but I like having this option here, especially that it's sanctioned by Apple, because it just seems to integrate with the OS a little bit better. A little bit on the high side when it comes to price. There's a lot of great third-party options that you could choose from, but in terms of just having a battery case, I like this one a lot. What you will notice though is that I don't have a case or a skin or anything like that. I am a big fan of going naked, going with the bare iPhone. I mean, I bought this iPhone partly because I like the way it looks and the form factors, so putting on a case has just never felt great to me. But this is actually the first year where I haven't even bought a case for this phone. I don't even own a case for the iPhone 13 Pro. That's probably gonna change. I'm sure I'll get one at some point, but so far, rocking it naked, and I love it. Okay, so that is the actual phone, but let's go ahead and get into the software, which I think is the most interesting part. And this really all revolves around the wallpaper. For a lot of us, myself included, you find a wallpaper that you like and you apply it to your phone, and that's kind of it. It looks great, you're happy with it, cool. But what I decided to do is actually create my own wallpaper that is created for the phone rather than just a really nice image. So this is a split screen wallpaper where on one side I have a kind of dark mode and the other side I have a light mode. I actually created this in Photoshop on the iPad with one of my images. Took this photo up in the mountains, really liked it. I then converted it into a dark shot as if I took the same photo at night, which I didn't. I added the stars, I added the blue effect to make it look dark, I added some shading, and I thought it actually looked pretty convincing. And then I went in and did the split screen effect. And what it does for me is it helps me differentiate one section from the other. But I mean, yeah, just from a pure setup standpoint, this is really something I'm enjoying. I think it's rather unique. And that brings us to today's sponsor, Survey Junkie. Survey Junkie is a way to help you earn money by taking surveys from different brands and companies. If you take 3 surveys a day, you can make about 40 bucks a month. So the way it works is different brands want to know about their products and how audiences are experiencing them. So they build these surveys that you can then take, and Survey Junkie pays you for taking those. It's a really simple premise, but one that lets you earn money and also helps brands build better products. Now you could take these surveys in multiple different places, whether you're in your browser, whether you have an app on your phone. They even have an extension. And besides the surveys, another option you can opt into is called Survey Junkie Pulse. This is an app or an extension that you install that will help you earn money by telling brands what you are doing on the web. But don't worry, it's all secure. You won't do any personal information like passwords or anything. It's all just normal things that you would expect around the web. Again, it's opt-in, but it's just another way to earn money. And when you do want to get paid, you can just get paid cash, or you can get a gift card from places like Amazon, Target, and a bunch of different retailers. So this is real money you can earn, and it's all just from a few minutes of your time. So if this is something you want to check out, links are all down below. Now the app that lets me do this is called Yidget. And basically it takes your wallpaper, you upload it to the app, and then it creates widgets with that wallpaper on it so that when you place it on top of your real wallpaper, it kind of blends in. You can still see it sometimes when you move the screen around, but for the most part, it works really well. Now as for some of my favorite apps that I've been using, a lot of them are very similar to what I've been using for years. Once you get in a habit, it's hard to find something that will get you out of that habit. But some of these apps I use on a daily basis and I really couldn't live without. But the actual organization of them I got from an idea from Tyler Stallman, and that's making the most used app, or the app that I want to reach the most, closest to my finger so I don't have to reach for it quite as much. And that's basically what I've done here. So at the bottom, I've got the camera, which I'm using all the time, especially with this 13 Pro. Taking photos is one of my favorite things to do with this phone. So I always want to have access to it as fast as possible. So I have it on the lock screen and then I have it here. And then next to that, I have the social stuff, and I've really been enjoying Instagram lately. You know, I kind of went through a phase where I stopped using it. Now I'm back in, and I've just been enjoying posting whatever photos I see fit and all the stories. Just, it's more personal. I'm not trying to take it as seriously, but Instagram, you know what it is. I then have Telegram, which is what we use to talk at work because some of us are on Android phones, some of us are on iPhone. So it's just a nice way to work on every platform. And then YouTube Studio, which is what I use to check all the YouTube analytics. I then have the phone, which I actually make a decent amount of phone calls, so I like having it on the home screen. And then music. I have been using Apple Music and loving it lately. With my AirPods Max, Apple Music I think is a must if you want the highest quality, because you get the lossless, you get the Dolby spatial audio. I've just been enjoying it. I've been trying to listen to music more often because I kind of stopped doing that for a long time, and Apple Music is the way that I've been doing it. And then I have photos. Again, I'm taking a bunch of pictures, so I want to be able to check them. And Apple Maps. I still have Google Maps installed, but because Apple Maps is default, it means I can use Siri and voice commands, and it just works a little better. And in my experience so far, it's been really good. Now at the bottom in the dock, I have Messages, Safari, and YouTube, which I'm on YouTube all the time. YouTube is basically like my podcast app. I use that to listen. I don't really watch all that often on my phone, but I'm listening a lot. And then my email app of choice is called Superhuman. I'm going to talk about this more in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. But basically, it's a super fast way to get through email, and it kind of transforms it into a to-do list rather than an inbox. I like this a lot. Now, as for the widgets, I have a smart stack here that will switch depending on what I need throughout the day, but I've got the calendar so I can see the date and any upcoming appointments. I have my reminders, so anything that I need to be reminded, like I need to sell my iPad, that can be there as well. And then I have quick access to notes, which I don't open every day, but I do use it enough that I want it on the home screen so I don't have to search for it every single time. And then one of my new favorite widgets is for my Tesla Model 3. They have the entire revamped app, and now this widget is actually useful. It shows me information I really care about, and I like having that here. I don't use it every single day because oftentimes I don't have to do anything to actually use my car. But when I do, the widget here is nice and quick to access. But yeah, that's really all I keep on my home screen. Like I said, I'm trying to be less distracted, and so far it works. I find myself just using these apps most of the time. Now that being said, I do have some widgets in the Today view, but that's also very simple. I just have my battery. I have the Parcel app, which is used for tracking packages, which I don't have any right now, which is kind of sad. And then weather up on top, just so I can see the upcoming forecast. But really, I have a lot of apps installed that I only use on very rare basis, and I just keep those all in the app library to keep them out of the way. I don't use them often enough to really ever need to look at them, and when I do need them on that off chance, I'll just search for it or go into the app library. That's the easiest way to do it. Keep everything uncluttered, but still have all the apps that I need. So that is what is on my iPhone. I'm sure it's going to be changing again because I like to constantly change everything I'm doing. But for now, this is a great setup. I'm loving the iPhone 13 Pro and everything it's giving me, and having this software and this customization available to me gives me a setup that I'm really happy with.